Okay, so yesterday we did 2.5 where we were estimating with the two-digit divisor. Now, all of that estimating is going to come to play when we're doing the real division, okay? So we're going to be working on 2.6, okay, which is dividing or divide by a two-digit divisor. Okay? We've done this before. We've worked on it. This is in our homework. So again, let me just show you. Dad, mother, sister, brother, Rover. So it's either repeat or remainder. So your divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And you're either going to be repeating it or it's going to be a remainder. Okay? So let's just go ahead. Got the problem. Again, you read it inside out. 580, which is nice because it has a 0 at the end, divided by 18. Okay? So, you're thinking, again, this is where you're coming in with your estimating. 18 is about 20. 58 is about 60. So how many times can 20 make 60? If you want to skip count, 20, 40, 60. Okay? So we could say that it's about 20 and about 600. So we know that we're working with about 20. So my answer is only going to be a two-digit number. So if I just said 20, okay, be right there. Okay. So as far as the process itself, okay, so how many times can 20 go to 60? 20, 40, 60. So let's try 3. Okay, and if it helps, you could do your 18 times 3 here. 3 and 24, carrying that 2, that's 5. Perfect. 3 times 18 is 54. Subtract 4. Do I have something to bring down? Yes. I'm not drawing the arrows. That's something I really want you to work over and not doing that anymore. Okay, so you're going to bring down your 0. Okay? 18. How many times can 18 go into 40? Well, we know that 18 is close to 20. So 20, 40. So we would say 2. So 16, 3. 36, again, subtracting. Do I have anything to bring down? No. So then that would mean I have a remainder. Okay? Something I really want you to understand. If your remainder, you're writing all of this down in your notebook. If your remainder is larger than your divisor, you need to, so if your remainder, which is this, so that's your remainder, is larger than your divisor, which is this, again, you're writing this down, okay? This needs to be, your quotient needs to be larger, okay? So if your remainder is larger than your divisor, you can recalculate. That also means that your quotient is too small. Okay, that's something that you really, really need to understand. So again, this is your divisor. Anytime your remainder is larger than this is too small. So it really, if in that case, this would have been a 3 or a 4, depending on how off that you were. Okay, so once again, this is your notes, your steps. You're dividing, your multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat, or remainder. Okay, your steps always have to stay the same. Okay. So those are your quick notes. So now what I want you to do is I want you to turn to your workbook and turn to page 86. If you need to press pause, please do so. This is going to be page 86. I'm not going to write in the book today. I'm going to do it on here. Okay, page 86, number 1. Again, 86 in your workbook. Okay, so you've got, again, you read it inside out. 620 divided by 28. Again, going back, using your divisibility rules. This is about 60. This is about 30. How many times can 30 make 60? 30, 60. Okay, so it's going to be, start up here. Because, and not only that I'm starting up here, is because I'm dividing this whole number. Therefore, my quotient must start up here, that you can see my arrow. Okay, so how many times do we say about 28 can go into, or 30 can go into 60? That's twice. Okay. If you need to move over here, 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. So again, multiplying. Again, my steps are divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat, or remainder. Okay? So I'm going to multiply. 2 times 28 is, what we did over there is 56. Subtracting. Do I have anything to bring down? Yes, I do. Okay? So if I have something to bring down, I must repeat. So I'm going to go through the process. How many times can 28 go into 60? Or we can make that a 30. How many times can 30 go into 60? Once again, we said 2 because we've already done that. 2 times 28, nicely already done for us, is 56. Do I have anything to bring down? No. Therefore, that is my repeat. Or no repeating, therefore I have a remainder. So my answer is, or my quotient is 22, remainder 4. Okay? All right, next problem, number 2. You want to try to solve number 2 and then solve it, press play to see if we got the answer right, that's fine. If you like to step through, my plan is to go 1 through 6. Okay, so if you don't want to do it on your first 1 or 2, try it on your other ones, but please make sure you press stop or pause so you can catch up, make sure you're doing it. Okay, I know that it's good for watching me, but you also kind of want to predict what I'm going to say. All right, number 2. 842 divided by 64. Okay? So, again, estimating, you can say this is about 80, this is about 70. How many times can 70 go into 80? That would be just once. Okay? You could also look at it again like this. Can 64 go into 8? Or can 8 be divided by 64? If you only have 8 things, can that be divided 64 ways? Okay? So 84 divided by 64. Again, because I'm dividing this whole 84, I'm going to go up. My quotient will start above the 4. So 64 will go into 84 once. I'm going to multiply. 1 times 64 is 64. Okay. Oh my gosh, that looks like such a huge number. Okay. So again, you're thinking, you could even do this. 60. How many times can 60 go into 20? Or excuse me, 6 go into 20? Well, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 18, 24. Well, I know that 4 is too much because that's 24. So I would say 3. Okay? So over here, I would do 64 times 3, because I don't know my multiples of 64. 4 times 3 is 12. That's 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. So 3 times 64 is 192. 0, carry, and that is a 1. So again, my remainder is 10. Is 10 larger than 64? No. Now, we've talked about this before, is how to check your answer. If I'm doing a division problem, what's the inverse of division? The inverse is a fancy word for opposite. Okay. So how would I do the opposite of division? That's multiplication. I would take my quotient times my divisor, and we've done this double-digit multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry my 1. 1 times 10, or excuse me, 4 times 10, because this is in the tens place, is 40, plus 1 is, okay. 6 times 3, or 60 times 3 is 180. Carry my 1. 6 times 1 is 7. Excuse me, 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. 2, 9. That is incorrect. Yeah, so 12. Oh, sorry. That's where I went wrong. This should be a 5. So 2 right there, that's 13. 8. So this would be 832. Well, the reason it's not quite right is because I do not have my remainder. I add my remainder, and that is the correct answer. Okay? So when in doubt, you can always check your work. You don't always have to check your work, but it's always going to help you. Okay? Why not? Okay? Why not? Why would you not want to make sure your stuff is correct? All right, so number 3, we're working on a little, now we're working in, and our dividend is in the thousands. Again, practice saying that as I'm writing, 2,340 is divided by 53. Okay? So again, I want to take this 5 and 23. Is 23 divisible by 5? No. But what is? 5 times 2 is 10. So let's just skip count. 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, 5 is too much because that's too much larger than that. So then I would say it would be 4. Okay? Again, using your estimating. And again, once again, I'm dividing I'm dividing 50 by 250 or 234. So my answer would go here because you have to realize you've got a 2-digit number. Okay? So over here, we said that this would be 50. 50 times 5, mark off, 250. That's way too much, so it's going to be 4. Again, using your estimating. That's 12, 21. So 212. 4 times 53 is 212. I'm going to subtract, bring down. Okay, again, 50 times something that's going to get me 220. Or you can think 5 times what can get me 22. Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 is too big, so therefore going back to my 4. Unfortunately, we already did this, so it's 212. Again, my process is subtracting now. So this would be 8 right there. So it would be remainder 8. So my answer is 44, remainder 8. Okay? I'd like for you to try number 4 by yourself. So go ahead and press pause. I'd like for you to do number 4 by yourself. All right, so I'm going to do number 4. Number 4 is 723 divided by 31. Can't do a division problem like that. So again, remember it's reading it inside out. So it's inside 31. Okay? So when you're doing that, you're thinking, how many times can 30 go into 70? If you were to look at it rounding, or excuse me, just estimating, so 30 go into 70. Well, 30, 60, 90. 3 is too much, so it'll be 30, 60, 2. So this one you don't. I'm not going to have to because look right here. 2s are pretty easy. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. Subtracting. Bringing down. So therefore, if I brought down, I need to repeat. So again, 30 going into 100. This is about a 100. 30, 60, 90, 120. Okay. So 4 is too much. So it would be 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. I'm not going to mark off that and put a 1 right here because that's the same thing. So 10 minus 9 is 1, which gets me 23, remainder 10. Sorry about that. Okay, so that is too high. 5 times 3 is 15, carry my 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. Oh, whoa, that's totally perfect. Okay, so we're going to look here, and that's going to be 3. 3 times 45 is 135. My next step is subtracting 0. What do I have to do now? Is I'm bringing down my 9. How many times can 45 go into 9? It can't. this has to be larger than my divisor before it can be divided. So it can't. So it will be 0. 0 times 45 is 0. 9 minus nothing is 9. My remainder is 9. Okay. Number 6. 7,925 divided by 72. Okay, do a different color. So I got to write it inside out. So 7,925 divided by 72. Okay, well look right here. I could do, how many times does 70 go into 80 or 72 go into 79? That's 1. So again, I'm doing this. I'm starting right here. Whereas before I had to go 45 into this, and so therefore my quotient had to go above my 5. 1 times 72 is 72. Whoa! How many times can 72 go into 72? 1 time. 1 times 72 is 72. 0. I have another number to bring down. How many times can 72 go into 5? It can't. So therefore it must be a 0. Remainder 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look over on page 88, and we're going to do 88, most of those together. Okay, now we're on page 88, number 17. Again, if you'd like to try to solve this by yourself and then check your work, that is absolutely fine. If you'd like to do it with me, that's absolutely fine. But sitting there just bubbling in, not an option. You need to work with me, listen to what I'm saying, see if you can read my mind and be able to beat me with what I'm about to say. So 17, a shipment of 572 scented erasers have arrived at the school store. If you want to sell them in sets of 15, how many full sets of erasers can you make? So I'm taking 572 and putting them into sets. So when you're taking them and splitting them up, it's also division. If you also make note your numbers or your answer choices are smaller, there's only 2 ways to make a number smaller, and that's division or subtraction. And this whole day we've been working on division. So we're going to divide 572 divided by 15. Again, reading it inside out. So you're going to look at this, and again, going back to your estimating, this is about 20, and we can move this even to about 60. So how many times does 20 go into 60? 20, 40, 60. That gives us a start. So I could say 3. If you want to come over here, well, you should know 15 times 3. Okay, that's 45. You can do 3 times 5 is 15. Carry your 1. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. Subtract 2, 1. I have something to bring down. Now you're working at a 3-digit number. So going back, you could say this is about 20. This is about 120. So you do 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. So that gives me 7. So 15 times 7 is 35. 3. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 more is 10. Here, 7 times 3 is 35. Carry my 3. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 11. Correct? No, yes, 11. 10. So I'm going to subtract. It gives me 7. Okay, so remember what we talked about earlier. If my remainder is larger than my my divisor, I've done something wrong. So then I can go back and think, okay, well maybe I didn't do enough groups here. So 15 times 8. 40, carry my 4, and that's 12. Oh, absolutely. Okay, so again, anytime your remainder is larger, remainder of 2. So how many full sets do I have? This is my full sets, and this is what I have left over. So my answer is 38. All right, number 18, Darius is counting the walks. Counted that he walks 864 steps from his house to his bookstore. If he takes 52 steps each minute, how long will it take him? So again, 864 divided by 52. Well, I can look at here and say, can 52 go into 8? No. Can 52 go into 86? Yes. we know obviously one time because you can think 50 cents. 50 cents times 2 is 100. So we're definitely over. You're going to subtract. Uh-oh, we've got a really large number. So again, how many times? So you can look at this and think, oh, we can make this about 5 or keep that at 50. 34. What's going to get us closest to 34? Well, I know that 5 times 7 is 35, and so that's going to, so I'm going to try this over here. 14, and that is, that's correct. Okay, that is 36, and that is incorrect. Okay, so got to go down. Carry, that's 31. And remainder 32. So about how long? It's going to take us 16 minutes with a remainder of 32 steps. So how many true minutes is it going to take us? Because the 16 minutes won't get us there. So it gives a remainder of 32 steps. So 16 with a remainder of 32 steps is going to take us about 17 minutes. All right, we're going to skip 19 for right now.
Where's my, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, we're going to move on to number 20. James has 1,836 marbles. He decides to divide them equally amongst 23 books. How many marbles? So again, this is just your old-fashioned division. So again, thinking, how many times can, or you can look at it here once again. 1 cannot be divided by 23. 18 cannot be divided by 23. So 183 can be divided by 23. Okay? So you're thinking to yourself, how many times can 23 make that? And the question is also how many will be left over. So we'll have to go back and think about that. What is going to be my answer? So you think 20 or 2 going into 18. 2 can go into 18 9 times. So I can say 9 times 23. That's 27, 18, 19. Oops, that's too much. 23 times 8 is 24. 16, 17, 18. All right? Here again, 8 times 3 is 24. Carry my 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 2 more is 18. Still too much. $23 times 7. 21, carry, 16. 7 times 3 is 21. There's no reason you can't do it twice. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 more is 16. Subtract, subtract, there we go. Brought down my 6. How many times can 23 go into 226? You know that 2 can go into, or 20 can go into 20 one times, but that's not correct because you have to think 20 going into there, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So let's try 9. Oh, there's my 9 up here. So 18, 19, 20. Remainder 19. So going back, so my answer is 79 boxes with a remainder of 19. Going back, because look, I've got both a 79 and a 19. So that's why you got to go back and look at your purple hexagon and justify and evaluate. What is my question asking? How many marbles would James have left over? Leftover is another word for remainder. So my answer today is the remainder and not the quotient. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to move on to your 2.6. Divide and check your answer. Simply divide for 1 through 9. Okay? Oh, this is a great question on number 10. Thinking about how much we've talked about this. And in fact, I went over that earlier in the lesson. 11 and 12, word problems, same thing in the back. When you're done, please take it to your file folder, mark your name off, and you may work on extension opportunities.